Greetings everyone, Patrick Oborn, co-founder of Telarus. I'm here today joined by a special guest, somebody that many of you who've worked with Telarus for a long time will recognize. It's Mr. or Sergeant David Burgeson. He is the COO of RSI Renaissance, Did I say that right? Renaissance?
Renaissance.
Is it French?
It depends if you're from Texas or France.
Renaissance.
Renaissance.
Renaissance Systems Inc. RSI, we'll call it for the purpose of this interview so we don't, butcher the name. But David, welcome to Telarus headquarters here in beautiful Utah here in the springtime. We're excited to have you out. We're excited to have you in the supplier portfolio. We welcome you back. It's been a little while since you were our Time Warner cable guy, and you've apparently moved on to some much bigger and more complex things that our partners could really use. Tell us a little bit real fast about RSI and compliance risk assessment. This is something that's unique to us. It's unique to the channel. Talk to us a little bit about RSI and just what this risk assessments and risk compliance mean to people.
So Renaissance Systems is an advanced company that focuses on nothing but automation, taking the complexity and making it into a simple process, workable process, and manageable process. We've been in business since 1982, and since then we have developed software for the insurance industry in particular, which took simple policies that may take 4 or 5 days to process and generally made it and be processed in minutes. So as a result, in 2018, we ran about $11 billion worth of insurance policies through our software that generated roughly $700 million worth of tax revenue.
Wow. So you take existing processes, you automate them, you streamline them. Talk to us a little bit about compliance risk. We in the channel, we deal a lot, in circuits and hosted phone systems and other things of people in the medical and insurance and quick service retail businesses. These guys are under immense pressure, right? Not only to produce profits, but to obey the rules, right? That they're being governed by.
Right. Well, it's certainly nothing like being a profitable company and then you're getting fined by the U.S. government because you were not in compliance with something, also to watch your profits dissipate. What we do is we measure using typical standard government regulations such as HIPAA or GDPR, New York State Department of Financial Services regulations, PCI, about 5 or 6 others. And we're adding new ones all the time, new regulations. And what happens is that we allow companies to assess themselves to see how they are compliant or where they are compliant, or maybe where they're not compliant, where they needed some improvements. So that way that they can send those reports to an auditor. With Cyber Compass, our clients can realize about 80% savings in time and at 65% reduction in cost versus going a traditional way of getting assessments and audits performed.
Right. So you just mentioned Cyber Compass, right? That's the name of your product that does the auditing. So people would purchase Cyber Compass, they purchase a license, they go into a portal, and they, kind of like TurboTax, right? You answer the questions about your company, and then it spits off a report that you send to an auditor.
That's precisely right.
Okay.
But we take it a step further, Patrick. What we do is we also make sure that we have a certified information security auditor helping you guide you through the steps. So it's not like that we're going to say, here's the software, good luck. Now, there'll be organizations who will have that expertise in-house, and they're going to want that software so they can get that audit-ready report generated, find out where the remediation steps are, and then send it to the auditor for sign-off. But what we have seen is most of our clients do not have that expertise in-house. So we have a chief security officer who will help you and guide you as much as you need or as little as you need to ensure that you're taking the right steps for compliance.
Right. So let me get this straight. So for the partners that we talk to, many of them, if not all of them, are selling digital products that are really form part of the customer's digital infrastructure, right? Their broadband, their connectivity, their SD-WAN, their phones, all that stuff. You guys don't sell anything. It just basically tells you what you're doing now either works or it doesn't work, and here's how to fix it. So it's really the only technology agnostic product that we work with, right?
You're correct. We do not do network vulnerability scans. We do not provide penetration testing. We're not even going to send agents out there to the network to find out where the weaknesses are, or even what your network is. What we do is strictly compliance and saying, here is where your weaknesses are. And here's what the remediation steps are by priority. As a result, the partners are able to get that report and generate additional revenue because we also provide the steps and the technologies that need to be recommended to get the client to be compliant with the regulations. Our goal is simply for the partners, every time they sell $1 worth of a Cyber Compass subscription, that they are generating another $5 worth of pass-through revenue in other suppliers or other technologies for the client.
So this is a great product, especially if an agent's talking to a customer who may be under contract for their network. They may be under contract for their phone system or their cloud phone system. They may be under contract with an MSP for whatever, right? And there may be no openings, no perceivable sales opportunities left, except for, quite possibly, a risk assessment, right, for compliance. So you can get in there and then see what they've got. And when I go to trainings, David, I hear words all the time like this is PCI compliant, right? And this is a provider that's stating that, and it may be their part of the solution, but there's a big part of the solution that's like client side that they can't really vouch for all of those different pieces, or we're in a Google data center, therefore we're HIPAA compliant. But what about how they're handling records internally? Like there could be a lot of things making them not HIPAA compliant. And so we can't just go to trainings from all of our providers and just check off those boxes. Oh, they're compliant, we're good to go. We actually have to take a deeper look. And the cool thing about that is we're driving a tremendous value to the customer. I mean, the customers, if they get fined, I mean, how big can these fines be? What's a ramification of a customer failing one of these compliance audits?
Well, we've had a customer who did fail an audit last year, and in a panic, they got a letter from the Department of Health and Human Services, Office of Compliance and Regulations, stating with a letter, you're going to be fined $500,000 unless you could generate certain reports, audit reports. They had exactly 20 working days to generate that report. The attorneys for the client called and got many quotes from different people, ranging from the big 5 accounting firms that said they was going to take 20 people for 20 straight days, and it was going to be some exuberant amount. Wow. And they called us, and we were able to provide that report not only in less than 20 days, but we were also able to do a report where the auditor signed off on it, and the attorneys submitted to the OCR office, and the client in return got all their fines removed with no further action necessary.
Wow.
And we were able to do it way ahead of time just because the automation process, it was so simple, and the report is exactly the way that auditors are looking for, exactly the way the government regulation bodies are looking for.
What a huge value. So tell me in that example, and just in general, how long does it take a standard? Was that like a rush deal, or what's the standard install time or turn up time that a customer undergoes to get their stuff, their compliance software turned on? And then second, what's the general cost? Like, what's the ideal customer size? Is this like $1 billion a month? Is it $1 a month, or somewhere in between, right? Help our partner community understand kind of where you guys play.
So for the partners, what we did was it's about $800, $1,200 a month average per customer. It's per month. Sometimes it goes for 6 months, sometimes it goes for 12 months. But the average customer will keep it for 12 to 24 months.
And does the cost vary based on employee count?
It does.
Does it based on the number of compliance audits that you have to generate? Like what are the things that the partner should be looking for in terms of cost? Yeah,
so it is dependent on number of employees and number of locations.
Okay.
But the costs are going to be relative to that because there may be several different departments or the same department across many locations. There may be one department at a corporate location, and all those factors have been taken into consideration for the cost and pricing. But you guys can think about somewhere between $800 to $1,200 a month average per client.
Okay.
Per month, and sometimes it's going to be locations, but sometimes it's only one price. Because if the headquarters does everything and it's a centralized model, right, then you only need one license for that one location. But if you've got several different locations doing very different things, then that could possibly be a per location model. but it just depends on what the business model is. And but the pricing is very, very simple. You guys the partners do not need to worry about how that pricing is done, because when we talk about pricing later, it's basically tell me the number of locations and tell me the number of employees, and then you're going to get a price instantaneously in milliseconds.
Okay, so we've talked a little bit about compliance risk. We talked a little bit about your product, Cyber Compass. We talked a little bit about pricing. Let's finish up by talking a little bit on the meat and potatoes of this, right? How do you sell it? Who inside these organizations do our partners need to be engaged with? Is this a CEO conversation? Is this the chief legal counsel conversation? The IT manager? I mean, who is the person that feels the pain of compliance in most companies?
Well, anybody who's going to feel the pain of failing an audit or getting fined is the attention grabber. But in my experience, it's been the CFO, the chief compliance officers, if they have one. Sometimes they don't, they're not big enough.
Right.
The chief security officer, if they don't have that, then it's going to be the chief operating officer and the CEO. It's definitely the C-suite. So for those partners who want to move upstream in a company, in their client base beyond the IT department, this is definitely for the C-level, for the C-suite and the V-suite of the food chain within the customer organization.
So what's the question once they get to the right person and they position themselves correctly with the C-suite? What's the intro question? Do you guys have an existing audit software that you use? I mean, most people probably don't, right? And it's important for partners to know that most companies like PCI and others, it's a self-reporting system. Like companies have to literally take their own temperature, write down the degrees, and send it into these compliant firms. And once you fail once, they will permanently remove your ability to self-assess.
Yep.
Once you have any violations, and so this is hugely important. How do most companies without your software do that self-assessment and stay compliant?
Well, oftentimes they don't. They hire somebody, an outsourced company, to come in, and it will take weeks and months to get that process done. Endless number of interviews. A big time suck for the resources within the client, and then you guys got to gather all that information. That consultant is typically going to be using a template that they have created, and then you have to provide the evidence, okay? And then a few weeks later, you may get that report, and by the time you receive that report, very few recommendations may be made, or more likely scenario is you're going to get a big old thick report that no one's going to read, okay? What we've done was simplify that, saying go at your own pace. Some of our clients have done it in a day. Some of our clients have done it in 3 days to 3 weeks. Some, who's got many more locations, will do great. Maybe they take 12 months to do all the locations, okay? But because it's automated, you're not relying on a single auditor to go through every single process. What you're doing is going through an assessment before you go to the auditor. So we are in the assessment game, so you get to kind of test yourself before you submit it to the guy who's going to give you the test.
Right. And your software already knows what the end result needs to look like to get approved.
Exactly.
To pass. Right? So it's like you're talking to the teacher's assistant who knows this teacher really well, and he knows exactly what's going to be on the final. And he's always the guy I like to partner up with in college, by the way.
Right.
Right? Right. Well, David, this has been a fantastic conversation. I've learned a lot. I hope our partners have really learned a lot about security, risk assessments, and understanding how compliance really is one of the things that drives the technology conversation that they're trying to have, and getting it, on a whole new plane, like you said, to get a conversation around compliance, you got to be in the C-suite.
Yep.
And once you're in the C-suite, there's really kind of an unlimited number of conversations that you can have around technology that makes the compliance actually work. So it's fantastic. We are glad that you made the trip out here to Utah. We are glad that we are working with you again, quite just on a personal level, indeed. And thank you for your service, kind sir. We appreciate all the many years of military service that you've done. You're a great example to people in the channel, a great example to your friends, your family, your friends, your coworkers, all the people who you know. And we really look forward to doing business with you. Last question, and we'll end here. If somebody has a question about this, who should they reach out to?
They should reach out to Taylor Burgeson, who is our virtual CISO officer, or myself. Right now, I am going to play the channel manager role until we find a suitable person, the right person to become the channel manager. My email is dburgeson@rsitechs. that's TEX, that's in Texas.com. My phone number will be at the bottom of the screen here, along with my information and Taylor's. But reach out to us at any time. But for the partners here, it's a great revenue generating opportunity for you to get at the higher level, but also at the same time, it's a great opportunity for you guys to drive additional services because we do not compete against you. And by the way, we're only a channel organization for the Cyber Compass product.
Oh, no direct reps, that's good to know.
No direct reps, so the channel conflict's been eliminated.
Fantastic. Right. Well, David, thank you so much for coming. Hope everyone had a chance to learn a lot here today. Make sure you get in touch with RSI. You can also find them on your Telarus app. Just open the app and type in RSI, and you'll have all their contact information right there for you. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching.